My husband was like, that's so generic. He's like, let me see what I could do. And then he looked up the French term for self-love, which was Amour Propre. And I was like, ooh, I like the way it looks. I didn't know how to say it. I was like, ooh, Amour Propre, that's cute. I'm ghetto. So I was like, that's perfect. I want that. And then I put my stuff on Etsy. And then my mom in March of 2020 was like, you should make hand sanitizer. And I was like, okay, mommy.
Smart
And
mom.
she watched too much news. And I was like, fine, whatever. I had rose water and like smudge sprays and like my little crystal girl stuff. And my first full month in business, I made $20,000. I was like, oh, what do I do with this? I didn't.
Welcome to the living room. Leave the over at the door. We'll talk it out till it's simple, till it's you again for sure. Life, leadership, money, and the names you outgrow. We make space for the woman coming through. Living room wisdom, where your story is your glory.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Living Room Wisdom, where your story is your glory. I am thrilled to introduce you to the founder of Amour Propre products, a beautiful beauty brand that you must take a look at. This is Tahera Christy, and we've recently been connected and just dropped in, and we became besties real quick.
Love it.
So thank you for being here and welcome. Finally, we made it happen.
By the grace of God. Yes. Thank you for having
Busy
me.
woman you are. Gosh. So tell our audience just a little bit. I want to know a little bit about your backstory before we dive into the beauty brand, because you've got a lot of talents, a lot of experience, and a lot of wisdom to share. So I'd love for you to just share a little bit about who you are as Tahira before we jump into the business.
Yeah. Great question. My story is definitely book worthy.
Yes.
I've written one, and movie worthy. So I'm definitely working
on
that.
it.
Yeah. I was born in Oakland, California, and I have always loved the arts. And so when I got old enough to go to a performing arts high school, that was exactly what I did. I sang, danced, acted. I've always been very creative and love, just expressing myself as best as I can. I actually met my husband in high school. We were high school sweethearts. And then life happened. I went off to college. I thought I was a grown-up and got pregnant my third year of college. Found a way, by the grace of God, to graduate in 4 years with a child.
Wow.
Thought I was going to go to law school because I was always really good as a rhetorician and just speaking in general and arguing. And in general, but being an educated arguer was very difficult to date, but it's fine. I found a man, it's fine. But then, I kind of got deterred from that and had to go into corporate America. So I went into corporate sales for about 15 years. It was always the top 5% of every sales force I've ever been in. And it's because I love the art of people. I've always had a passion for people. God kind of made me that way. There are some people who are like, I don't do girls. I don't do females. They don't like people. They're non-social. That is not me. I love people. I know I have great purpose in interacting and supporting people. So after corporate America wore me down, I got shingles when I was 38 years old. And I said, I can't do this anymore because being the best comes at a price. And if you're not doing something you absolutely love, you are wasting your life. And I know I only have so many heartbeats and so many days here on earth and months and years, but I wanted to make sure that all of them were to fulfill that foundation of who I am, which is as a creative. And so when I was 39, I decided, because there was a pandemic, I had 4 kids to educate and
No longer
entertain.
in corporate at
No
that
longer in
point.
corporate
Okay.
America. I was unemployed, took my unemployment check,
Yes.
and I said, I want to start a business called self-love. My husband was like, that's so generic. He's like, let me see what I could do. And then he looked up the French term for self-love, which was Amour Propre. And I was like, ooh, I like the way it looks. I didn't know how to say it. I was like, ooh, Amour Propre, that's cute. I'm ghetto. So I was like, that's perfect. I want that. And then I put my stuff on Etsy. And then my mom in March of 2020 was like, you should make hand sanitizer. And I was like, okay, mommy.
Smart
And
mom.
she watched too much news. And I was like, fine, whatever. I had rose water and like smudge sprays and like my little crystal girl stuff. And my first full month in business, I made $20,000. I was like, oh,
Yes.
what do I do with this? I didn't mean to go into business. I just want a little Etsy shop. So that gave me the capital to do more. I have over 500 proprietary blends that I've created because I'm a creative, and that's my
Yes.
foundation in what I do, and I love it. And I can't see myself doing anything outside of the world of creativity. So I still act, I still sing, I still dance, I still perform and create. I've written several books. You'll pop and see me on TV from time to time. Wherever I can explore that little kid in me that was 5 years old in my slip and in my Big Bird bathing suit with singing Michael Jackson, Beat It with my tape recorder and my microphone and just expressing and creating, that's where you're going to find me.
And that's where we connect so deeply because we're both creatives.
Yes.
Singing, acting, doing all the things. We both went to performing arts high schools. And we also both pivoted into entrepreneurship, which for creatives is not always the case.
Right.
I find, tell me if you agree with this, that most creatives end up becoming independent contractors. They get stuck in the independent contractor specter and don't pivot fully into entrepreneurship. So can you tell me then for yourself, obviously Amour Propre was more of an accidental entrepreneurship journey, but you had the stick-to-itiveness to actually take it and be serious and intentional about making it a business. So where do you feel like that came from? Did you have mentors? Did you read a book? Like, how'd that happen?
You know, I always have had a knack for creating business opportunities. I give a lot of credit to my aunt. When I was 14, she taught me how to braid hair. When I was 35, she taught me how to make soap. These were all like hobbies that kind of went into things, and I've always been able to make money off of the things that she taught me. And I've always been an entrepreneur. I just didn't know that was what it was called.
Didn't have the language.
Exactly. So my very first job, I sold newspaper subscriptions door to door in San Francisco and in Oakland and Berkeley. And it was for a scholarship. I was making money, honey. Okay. At the end of the day, I was.
You're also a Capricorn, right?
I'm Gemini.
Gemini.
So, but
Okay.
Capricorn,
About that
Gemini,
money,
same thing.
though. Yes.
It's more of I have the will and the ability to just make things happen. And I felt like when I started off as a kid, I've DJ'd, again, I've acted, because
done it all.
as a performer, you audition constantly. You're constantly putting yourself out there, and you're in a business. It's a business. You have to manage, just like having a manager and an agent and all these other things to help. And I've always been my own manager. I've always been my own agent. I've always gotten my gigs on my own. People are like, how did you get this? I'm like, I hustled. I figured it out. And a hustler is just, it's a low grade, entrepreneur. Just like when I was learning rhetoric, manipulation is just a low grade version of persuasion. So as I matured, I learned how to persuade instead of manipulate. As a business owner, I went from hustling to learning how to manage a business system. And so because of all my other businesses that I had before Amour Propre, I knew foundationally I had to do something. Just like when I made all this money and I didn't know how to manage it. I didn't know about LLCs. I sought out information. I sought out many, many business coaches. I've had so many business coaches. I think at one point I had 10, and they all had a different function in my life and supported me.
It's a complex system, money, because there's the incoming, there's the outgoing, there's the personal, there's the business. It's a
And
lot.
not everybody can give you everything that you need.
That
That's
part.
why even though I'm married, I've got many, many friends. They have different functions. Same thing in business life. So just like when I started creating all these formulas, I cook. They're just recipes with technicalities. So I was like, once I started transposing these things in my mind, I'm like, I've been doing this. It's not that hard to transition. And like you mentioned with the stick-to-itiveness of it, it requires persistence. It requires support. I was a single mom for 10 years of my life. And I was always an entrepreneur and held down a job during that time. But every time I tried to start something, it would fail. And I'm like, I need support. So I give a lot of credit to my husband for holding it down, because a lot of people contract because they have to. Bills are real and they're not going anywhere.
That part.
So we all got to do what we got to do. I've had moments in my career as a business owner where I've had to take side hustles. Ain't too proud to beg. I'm never going to be too proud to take a side job to make sure that the bills get paid, but my dream continues. And that is a humility and a consciousness that you
Yes.
understand you're building bricks, and sometimes like I am the clumsiest person on the planet. Okay.
Maybe next to me.
Girl, no. It's, you know what? We're tall, and I feel like the
Yes.
taller you are, there's like little things and people underneath
Yeah,
you.
for
You
sure.
don't always
Yeah.
see them. I don't always see them, and so I drop things all the time. Glass, bottles. I dropped product
no.
yesterday. I was like, really, T? Of all the things today, you just wanted to? And I'm like, it's okay, T. You got this. Like I have to like self-talk myself, and through my clumsiness, I
Yes.
realize I am literally failing in ways that are helping to make me better as a person and better as an entrepreneur. So I take that same mindset about everything in life, and I am so humble and I'm so grateful. And I wake up with the opportunity to do something versus I have to go in, I have to do this. No, I get to. And I'm very,
Yes.
very blessed to be able to do it.
Yeah, and it's a skill that not everybody has.
Girl, that's
you
an
know,
emotional
and I think
maturity.
that by us being women of color,
Yeah.
for one, or just of color, period, there's a certain amount of grit and hustle that we have that we've developed out of survival.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So I feel like the real challenge for us as high achieving, diverse women of color, right, is then learning how to move from the hustle to more sovereignty and still be effective.
Yes.
And so, have you ever been challenged with that? Because we can do 50 million, thousand, jillion things, but what do they say? Jack of all trades, master of none. And so, how have you been able to kind of hone in and really refine Amour Propre in the way that you have?
You know, it's funny. I always say I'm the Jill of all trades, and I master
Jill.
everyone.
Eh,
And the
okay,
reason
you
why
heard it
it's-
here.
I have a confidence in me
Yes.
that has been built because I can't not. It would be infinite for me to. It's like thanking
Yes.
God. There's not enough breath in my body to thank God enough for what He's done for me. There are not enough instances of failure,
Yeah.
and ways that I have not like raised my own standard, knowing my standards are astronomical. They're
Yeah.
otherworldly. And that keeps me going. Again, my failures are truly successes because I have the delusion of understanding that I am capable of all things. But like we talked about earlier, balancing my self-care becomes paramount because I have to understand that I am not Superwoman. I am a woman of a
think we
certain
are.
age, right?
Yes.
And I believe a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of hustlers, a lot of business people, that grit comes from trauma. And so I'm
100%.
always focused on not reliving my trauma,
Yes.
but also not trying to not superimpose my trauma as a way to make excuses for why I can't move forward. If anything, it's a stepping
Yeah.
stone so that I can allow
Yes.
my full brevity of my success. My success comes from the belief that I have in myself, regardless of what anybody else says or thinks about me. But I created Amour Propre, self-love, because I was on that journey of truly learning how to love myself in a way that I've never seen before. You know, my parents didn't exude that.
They
My-
didn't have the privilege
Exactly.
of self-care.
Exactly. I was the first to graduate from my
Yes.
college. I'm the
Yes.
first to give my kids, like I was telling my daughter the other day, she was like, Mom, you're so insensitive sometimes. I'm like, I'm not insensitive. I said, you have to understand, I didn't have the opportunity to grieve
Yes.
or be sad when I was a
No.
child. Like you said, as women of color, especially, pick yourself up. We're stronger than everybody else. We have to move on. We have to just keep going.
Yeah.
So the fact that, especially this young generation, they're like, I'm in the soft girl era.
Yes.
And as Black girls, we don't even get to be there. We don't even get to earn soft girl era. Whereas our counterparts, they just get to go into it. And so having earned my ability to be soft and to be vulnerable and to be angry or frustrated and express that without me absorbing anyone else's opinions of that has been so
a gift.
liberating. You know what I mean? And so I think I'm at a stage in maturity in my life where I realize the value of being fully expressive and giving other Black girls
Yes.
the opportunity to fully express themselves as well, because this is our world. And I will say, my husband is white, right? So I feel like I'm in this space because I'm living this world where I get to see it on display.
Yeah.
He doesn't ever have to apologize for how he does anything. He gets to walk through the world being how he is. So it has enhanced the confidence that I have within me because I get to see it every day. And it is a privilege to even experience life from as a Black girl in Orange County from that standpoint. So
Yeah.
I'm grateful.
Yeah.
I'm
And I
grateful.
think also you are someone who intentionally puts yourself in the spaces to grow.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So we have that in common.
Yeah.
You fail forward.
Absolutely.
You don't fail and then,
No.
freeze. And you're doing it intentionally. You're putting yourself in positions to be able to learn. And you only learn through facing challenges and overcoming them. You also said yes to a big challenge of an interracial relationship.
Yeah. Oh my God. That's
I
a
mean,
whole nother
you chose
podcast,
that,
girl.
my friend.
Yes.
Right? And I'm sure there's been some ups and downs. Can you share with us just briefly? I know
Yeah.
there's probably a long list, but just some of the things you guys have had to navigate as a interracial couple,
Yeah.
specifically in Orange County, California.
The great part about my husband is he is so respectful and such a wonderful person. I
Yeah.
joke around and say he's Forrest and I'm Jenny. 'Cause,
I
child,
love it. Yes.
He's such a simple man, and I
Yes.
really am a simple girl underneath
Yeah.
the glitz and glam and fabulousness that people assume is just, I'm just a
Yes.
boring nerd who wants to make formulations
in
in my
common.
kitchen.
Yeah.
I literally am the most nerdy girl, and I know I have a good time, of course,
Yeah.
but I feel like he
That's different.
respects. It's true.
Yeah.
He respects who I am, and I respect who he is. And any relationship requires that.
100%.
But being in an interracial relationship requires even higher levels of that, because there are things he cannot do and say, and there are things I will not do or say because I want the relationship to last. And having that constant level of consciousness, almost not ever being able to fully be comfortable, knowing I'm comfortable, but I will never allow myself to say or do certain things in front of him, vice versa.
To inflict pain.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
And I feel like a lot of relationships are missing that fact. People are too busy to tit for tat. And when I tell people all the time, especially when we talk about relationships, you can be right all by yourself,
Exactly.
and you will
Yes.
remain right by yourself. You'll be right. You'll
Yeah.
be dead right by yourself. And I never want to be alone in that regard. I spent enough of my life alone, building myself by myself, for myself. And when I said I was ready for partnership, I meant it. And that was my first business.
Oh, well, really? How? How so?
Marriage is a business.
True.
He's CFO,
You're right.
I'm CEO. We make
Yes.
decisions on our products, happen to
love
be
it.
children and our household and our marriage and all of these commodities that we actually have passion for. But when I look at it like that, you don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, and you don't throw the marriage out because you hit a snag. And we've had plenty of snags, plenty of ups and downs. Guess what we've done? Ride them all out together, work through strategies together, have meetings and family connection to be able to navigate through difficult waters together. And we have never given each other grief about differences. We have them. We communicate through those differences, and it has been one of the most rewarding and long-term
Yes.
relationships I've ever
Enriching.
had. Man,
Enriching, yeah.
oh my God! So I love that dude. That's my. That's
I
my
love
dude.
it.
Shout
I
out to
love
Benjamin
it when
Christie.
it just oozes from the pores, right? The gushing.
That's my baby. I love him.
And how much do you feel knowing each other in high school
Yeah.
plays into the relationship that you have now?
Yeah.
Because you did date for a little bit in
yeah.
high school,
Yeah.
right?
He
And
broke
then
up
you
with me.
went off and did your thing and then came back together. So tell me a little bit about that dynamic. I mean, because I feel like there's an element of he knew you before you fully knew you.
Absolutely.
Right. And so he really sees you in a way that maybe someone who met you later in life wouldn't, and vice versa.
Oh, yeah.
But I want to hear that.
Yeah.
I like put the
I
answer
love
in
it.
your
No,
word.
it's so good. I'm going to go biblical on you. The Bible says
go.
a man who finds a woman or marries the woman of his youth is a blessed man. And so the fact that he found me when we were 15 years old, we were
Yeah.
children, and he saw what he wanted and he went after it. And I went to a mostly black high school. I was like, excuse me, white man, this is not going to happen. First of all, my daddy was a Black Panther. What we're not going to do is date you.
Ooh,
That's not going to
yes.
happen. My daddy told me, you can't, when I tell you my daddy was like, no, no, no. And he's my dad's favorite person on the planet
Yes.
outside of me, child. It's really funny to see. But he knew what he wanted at the time. He didn't have the capacity to keep it at the time.
Yeah.
And so when we were 17, I finally, after him begging me to date him, and I was like, fine, and fell in love with him and was like, oh my God, you're just so sweet. And that's when again, that softness, he allowed that in me. And and being vulnerable, and we just meshed. And he's creative. He's a musician and I'm a singer. Like we just had so much in common. The music, we fell in love over that. And then we were 17 and we went to the fair. I was like, I love you. And I think I want to marry you and have your babies. I know I was 17, but I meant what I said.
No, we know.
He broke up with me the next day. He was like, oh. I was like, what?
Careful what you wish for.
Bro,
Oh my God.
What's the deal? And literally until we were 31 years old, he never told me why he broke up with me.
Jeez,
he
was
said
scared.
I was not ready. Yeah, and I didn't know. I
Yeah.
didn't know about boys. I knew about him.
Of
And
course.
he just wouldn't. He didn't have the words to say. Like I didn't have a job. I didn't have a house. I was trying to. He thought tomorrow. I was like, no, I just mean in general.
Yeah.
Like I'm enjoying dating you. This is cool.
Yeah, there was a massive accountability
Literally.
in that I love you statement and I
Yeah.
want to have your babies.
Girl. And he made up for it. By the time we were 31 and he came back in my life and I was like, bro, I've had 3 other kids. Like I'm not,
Yes.
I have more baggage than I did when I
Of course.
mentioned that. He
Yeah.
was like, I'm going to prove to you every day of your life that I deserve to be in your life. And when I tell you he's been doing that for the last 15 years, that's exactly what it is. Yeah.
Amazing.
He's
And so what
amazing.
I'm also hearing is, so one of the things I believe we all as women, we all as humans at our core,
Mm-hmm.
but specifically women, because we do have a unique relationship with safety,
Yes.
with our body and all of the things.
Everything.
But what I'm hearing from you is that this is the person who was put in your life to give you that sense of safety so that your nervous system could regulate and settle and
Yes.
calm. And when you're able to function from that place,
Mm-hmm.
now you're no longer creating from scarcity. So you can create some really beautiful things,
That
which
is
you guys
exactly-
have done.
That's exactly it.
Yes.
And it's truly a reality that most will never
right.
find.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
why I remain grateful, because just that part alone, I've had so many blessings in my life that I'm just like, really, God, you really love, like you really
Yeah.
love me. And
you
I'm
feel like the favorite child.
right? I was like, God don't
Of the
play about me.
billions
Oh my
on earth.
God, God does not play about me for the and I thank God I don't look like what I've been through either.
Yes,
So
that
there's
part.
a balance, you know what I
That
mean? But I
part.
think it's one of those things
Yes.
where if you can find love, or love finds you.
Yes.
And love found me when I was like, how did you get here? I was like, ooh,
Yes.
nobody's
That
supposed to
part,
be here.
that part.
And he got there and I was just like, whoa. But I literally wrote down, I want to say a year before, everything I wanted in a man, all the
Yeah.
traits. Girl, I didn't write down black. I forgot. Anyhow, God had jokes and he sent me this white man that was like,
That
I'm
part.
here. And he literally
Yes.
came with all the traits that I needed
Yes.
and wanted. Because I was tired of being a single mom. And I was like, God, I'm ready for you to do what you do best, which is just bless me. And he blessed me with a man that not only could feed into me, I take real good care. I take real
Yeah.
good care of him.
That-
You hear me?
I'm
I do my
sure.
part. She's a good wife. I was like, because my
Yes.
husband wasn't a Christian when we met. And I was like, you married a good Christian woman and you are very lucky that my ideals and my values outshadow what the world suggests I should be to you. Because
Yeah.
I'm always going to give you the best. And even when I said my vows to him, I said, I will love you the way God loves me completely. And I meant every word. And that's the reason our longevity has been what it is, because we are people of value. He said, I don't have a lot of money. I don't have a lot of things. I don't even have an education, but I have honesty, integrity, and accountability. And I will give you that the rest of my life. So far, so good. He's very
Yes.
consistent. So
I love it.
Yeah.
And so when he reappeared in your life, did you recognize that he was the man that you had asked for on paper?
I did. And I was just like, really, Jesus, you got like jokes. Like, you think this is funny.
Yes.
Like when I found out I was pregnant with twins by my baby daddy. Really, God? That was jokes in the other direction. Twins? Me? What? And what's
Yes.
funny is when I got pregnant with my twins, side note, my friends from high school were like, you used to always talk about having twins. I was like,
And you forgot. Yeah,
Forgot
you
all about
totally
it.
manifested
girl,
it.
do you know how much
With the
power?
wrong person.
Do you know how much power
Well,
is in this tongue?
maybe not with the wrong person. But
No, but but you
understand
get
what
it.
I'm
And
saying,
so that's the
yes.
point is, it wasn't until years later that I started
Mm-hmm.
realizing, and it's why my last book that I wrote was Manifest That Shit. Like, I'm all
Yes.
about the power of manifestation, your words.
the
your,
power of the tongue.
oh my God, there's so much power in my tongue.
Oof.
And so I really only speak life. And as a person who's been a
Yes.
comedian, because I've had 14,000 jobs.
I didn't know
I
that.
did
You know, I'm
stand-up
a
for years.
comedy fanatic. I was at comedy last night.
I'll send you some videos.
Girl,
some
no, I
videos.
want to see you on
Yeah,
stage.
man.
We doing it.
It's been years, and I realized
I love
I
it.
used to joke with myself and say mean things.
Yes.
And I had to
Oh,
stop that
no,
because
no,
I was like,
no.
you're hurting yourself. And it was my doctor who told me that, because I said something about, I hurt myself, and I was like, yeah, I know, I'm so stupid or whatever I said. She's like, you're really mean to yourself. I was
No.
like, white woman, who are you to
Yes.
talk to me like this? She
I
was
beg your
absolutely, oh my
pardon.
gosh, she's still my doctor to this day, and I love her.
Yes.
And she's so honest with me, and that was when the self-love journey started. So that was 9 years ago now, and I'm very grateful that I'm in this space where I understand my value and the value of others. I see it. So
It's interesting because our missions are quite similar. My mission is to unravel that pattern of scarcity so that we, as a whole, as women, but obviously our diverse women who have been through all sorts of generational trauma that they've also had to overcome, and societal, constraints that we come up against as well. To really be able to claim that soft girl season, right? Because it is a privilege. And so how can we create that, still be effective, tap into the hustle and the grit when we need it, but be able to shine and, bring the joy and bring the light as we do, so we don't look like what we've been through.
right.
And so I love that I'm doing it in one way and you're doing it through product, which, we see products all the time, but we don't always know the story behind the products. And so I know you also have a nonprofit organization. Can you tell us how this ties into everything?
So Encore Presentation is actually how I started Amour
What's it
Propre.
called?
Encore Presentation.
Encore Presentation.
And the reason why it's called that is because every day is a new opportunity to do something different,
Yeah.
to present yourself to the world in a different way. I was going through my own marketing crisis for my personality, hence why now I go by Tahera Rene Christy, because I'm branded that way. Because Tahira Smith, the girl I was before I was married,
speak.
just was very troubled and had a lot of issues, and people took a lot of issue with who I was as a person. So I decided to go through a whole rebrand, and I took that same philosophy and applied it to women who were pregnant in homeless shelters. Nobody's thinking about the pregnant girl in a homeless shelter. She's just a throwaway. Why didn't you just have an abortion? You can't take care of a child. Well, some of us decide to have our kids, hence why I had 3 kids on my own, because I had to, in college, I had to take full responsibility for my actions because I chose to be a responsible party for my kids. And now I've got 3 grown kids and a grandbaby, and I'm very proud that I was able to get through that part of my life successfully. So I feel like it's one of those things where when we redirect ourselves from where we thought life could take us to where it can, if you see yourself in a different light, then the opportunities are endless. And I was able to do that. And I really feel like when I was younger, I didn't really have a whole understanding of who I was. And as I got older and I started to understand who I was and the power that I possessed, I started to take myself more seriously. I think that's where comedy came into play. It was really on stage therapy, because let me tell you, it was just like releasing, singing. I've always had some type of creative ability to release, right? And so the nonprofit was a way for me to give to girls who were going through exactly what I had gone through in life, which was experiencing homelessness, being pregnant, being afraid, not knowing what to do, not having mentors or support systems. And I started giving my books away to the girls. I just wanted to go talk to them and let them know somebody cared, somebody loved them.
Sweet.
And then the products came about, and then I'm like, I make personal hygiene products. Why don't I give these girls that? So I go every Tuesday to a shelter in Los Alamitos, and I give them my books, my time, my talent, my products, whatever they need, want, and desire. Sometimes they want makeovers, whatever it is, whoever's there. And I've done one-on-ones. I've had 10 girls in the class, 30 girls in the class, but it's been something I've been doing for the last 10 years that I absolutely love. It's my way of giving back, so that I stay humble and remind myself of where I've been, but also how far I've come. I'm an example to them as to where they are now is not where they're going to be. So case in point, about 6 years ago, one of my girls called me back. She got a job at a local college. She said, I just want to call you and thank you. Your book saved my life.
Yeah.
And I went and did a speech at the college that she worked at and got to give her the biggest hug to see her in recovery for 5 years. Some of the girls are drug addicted, some mental health issues. But if I just help one, I literally did my job. And when I tell you, there have been hundreds, if not thousands of people that I've been able to make that impact on. So man, when I tell you, I can't, I'm overjoyed that it just keeps going, and I want to do more. So Amour Propre is me doing more. It's a spinoff of me offering my services, because during the pandemic, I couldn't offer them. So then I started with products, and it kind of got bigger than I expected it to. So now they broke off into 2 different companies.
That's what you call alignment.
Yes.
And mission focused.
Yes.
Right?
Absolutely.
And it's funny, every time we talk, I find all these additional parallels. And so what's funny is when I really look back at my timeline, when I was in high school and early 20s, I used to do a lot of volunteering at group homes, and I would go in and do makeovers or like, give little workshops and stuff like that. So it's funny to look now all these years later that this is exactly the same person that I am and the same thing that I'm doing.
Yeah.
And so what I want to find out from you then is what's next as we start to round out this episode. You've got so much going on with the products and your mission and your artistry and the nonprofit. What is your vision, let's say 5 years out?
Yeah.
What kind of
So
impact?
the great part is you already kind of set it up earlier when you're talking about how do you focus and you got all this stuff going on, because that is the goal. For the last 2.5 years, we've been scaling. Like I said, I had over 500 proprietary blends that I've created. And at one point, I was selling almost 250 handmade products on my website. I got down to about 100, and now I'm at about 60. So
Wonderful.
most companies don't scale
Wonderful.
down, they scale up.
Yeah.
Because my original goal was to be the Black Honest company. I wanted to create a product line of multiple different products for face, hair, home, you name it, body, that took care of the natural needs from a melanated perspective, because it just didn't exist. But I didn't think about capital. I didn't know much about scaling. I didn't know about profit versus net. And I had to learn. So I went through several business cohorts and accelerators, and I learned from the best, again, lots of business coaches. So over the next 5 years, I'm focused on scaling by getting a co-manufacturer. So I'm in negotiations right now to get a few of my products co-manufactured and distributed by someone else, so I can be more strategic.
Free your time.
Absolutely. We talked before we started about self-care and balance and all that great stuff. And I'm preaching it.
Yes.
I have to do it. So this is one of the things that I'm literally looking to let go and take off of my plate so that I can grow, because we're going to be $1 million business in the next year.
Yes.
And that's what I'm manifesting. That's what I'm working on.
love it.
Everybody that I talk to about my company that has the means and sees the vision is like ready to invest. And I love that. And I've never crowdfunded, never
Yes.
asked anybody for a dime. I've done a lot of grant pitch competitions and things like that. And
Yes.
I win a lot, which is great.
Yeah.
But I think I'm ready to make
It's
it
time.
bigger.
It's time.
And I need the support. So I'm working on that. So if you're
And
an
if I could
investor-
offer you a reframe, it's actually something you get to do, but it's also
Yes.
the next level of your elevation,
Yes.
because people get to invest time, energy, and resources into the dream and be a part of it. People want to feel a part.
Yes.
The first book I wrote was Motherhood's Not for Punks.
Girl.
Before I ever wrote a page, I crowdfunded.
Nice.
I crowdfunded and I
Yeah.
raised the money to actually do the production of the book.
Nice.
And the whole time it was social media, like what would you want to know? What are your challenges, right? So you're actually creating it for the community. Those are the campaigns that launch the best.
Yes.
And so I love that you're ready for that. This is the season.
Yeah.
I too am someone who never, this is it. This is why I do what I do. High achieving women who feel like we're superwoman. We carry the world on our shoulders. We're doing it all by ourselves. Heaven forbid we ask for help, right? So this is the season for me, and I think it's the season for the collective consciousness as a whole, specifically women, where we get to be in community. We get to do things together. We get to ask for sponsorship or investment or financial support, as well as the energetic support.
Yeah.
And so we're better together. Period.
Absolutely. 100%.
Right?
Yeah.
So I
love
love
it.
this for
I love
you.
it.
So if there's any investors out there that want to invest in this incredible company or be a part of the mission and the scaling and the impact that she's creating, not only with Amour Propre, but with her nonprofit, definitely make sure you reach out. Where can people connect with you? Where do you hang out?
Yes. Well, gosh, I'm always on these internet streets.
I know,
I'm
right?
on Beyonce's internet pretty much all day, every day. But amourp.com is my website. AMOURP is in Paul.com. And Tahera, TAHERA at amourp.com is a great way. And of course, social media, Love Amour Propre is across all social media platforms.
Wonderful.
But I tell people all the time, if you Google me and you can't find me, you
That
did not
part.
look. I am
That
so
part.
accessible.
Well, but we'll also put all of her information in show notes. But again, we really would love to hear from you as well. So comment, share these episodes, share this episode specifically with someone who you know will resonate. And with that said, I just want to thank you so much for being here again. I wish we could talk for like 42 more hours, so maybe we'll have you on again. And thank you for joining and sharing this energy and sharing this time with us. There's a million places you could be right now, and the fact that you choose to spend it with us really touches my heart. So thank you so much. Make sure you subscribe and come right back next week here at the same time, same place on Living Room Wisdom. Mwah! See you soon.